Hi there, it's Keith here again, up at Stubbylee Community Greenhouses, which is part of my final major project for Blackburn College. This is the third of the workshops that I've been running, and today is going to be a little bit different. I've talked in the last couple of, or looked at in the last couple of workshops, the emergence of art in the sort of Upper Palaeolithic and cave paintings, etc. Sorry, that's this one. Yeah. And that is the sort of the main focus of what I wanted to look at for my final major project. So we'd looked at some of the what they used during that period in terms of the paint production with pigments using chalk, and then we looked at the production of charcoal for making black. And what I was sort of looking at and became very interested in is how much they valued their materials that they were producing at the time. You know, they went to a considerable amount of effort to go and find, you know, these particular ochres, to find manganese oxide, to find chalk, and to produce charcoal. And they also seem to value that in terms of how they used it. It was used, particularly the red ochre, in their burials and in the cave paintings. And there seems to be an association with this red ochre as being a preservative, and you can sort of imagine how that would be sort of seen as people going into the afterlife, a bit like mummification in the Egyptian times, that they were wanting to preserve things for people to take through. So they really valued the materials that they were using. They had this very intimate connection with them. Now, for part of my project, we have an end of year exhibition which we've got to produce a piece or more than one piece for. Now, my project, a lot of it is actually in the workshops and the experimentation, but we've still got to produce a piece which will be displayed at the end of year exhibition. And I wanted to do something that was contemporary but reflected what we already looked at. So my idea that I've been developing was to do an installation looking at what our archaeological layer would be like if people in the future look back at it. We look back at the Paleolithic, find these intimate association with red ochre and other ochres, with materials there. But if people look back in the future at what our archaeological layer would look like, you'd find a lot of this. And the amount of waste that we took away all goes, now we're getting better at it into recycling, but the sheer amount of goods that have very little or we don't give any value to at all. We don't have that close intimacy. When they were making things, they knew where it came from. Like when we made the charcoal, we now know that that piece of charcoal and those tins came from that willow tree over there that we burnt in that fire, and then that we've drawn with. But with regards to like my own waste, you know, I have no idea where that plastic comes from at all. No idea where the glass comes from. I don't really know what they do with it once it's gone for recycling. It has basically no value to me, you know, and I'm being honest about it, you know, whereas it should do. So I wanted to do sort of a bit of a modern commentary on that, to sort of reconnect with that and paint these in those ochre colours that prehistoric people found sacred, and to basically make an installation from that. So that is the principle of what I want to do, but I want your involvement in it as well, because I want it to be part of a group activity, and it will be displayed in an exhibition. And for anybody who wants to come to that exhibition, you will be all invited. So just to give some idea, it does pose some particular problems in terms of painting this stuff, because plastic and glass, which is not all, but a lot of what are being sort of collected, is not particularly easy to paint onto. So there's a couple of processes that I have to go through, which are, first is to basically degrease it, you know, soap and water and a bit of vinegar in. But the second is to put an undercoat on it, So I've used two different undercoats. One is a commercially available one, well both are. One is shellac base, which they use on PVC, UPVC windows to repaint those, which works really well, but is incredibly sticky and gooey to use. It dries quickly, but you don't want it on you. So I've already done some for you. And the other is pre-grit, which is a lot cheaper, but it's basically a PVA with bits of sand in it. So it sticks to the product or the pieces. It also gives a texture, and it gives a little bit of age actually when you paint it. So that is the general idea, and that's what I want you to get involved in, is paintings in. The colours that I've got here, I've taken from the ones that I've been making in the pigment making and trying to match those. There was no way, ideally, I'd have loved to have made all of the paint, but it would have taken, let's say, months if not years. So I've tried to colour match those with commercially available ones in these sort of ochre and earth tones. So that's what I'd like to get involved in today, is painting some of these up. Just to give you some idea of what it will look like at the end, I've already done some, and we'll just nip over there into my studio, just to give you some idea of what visually that would look like at the end. So if we do that now, that'd be, yeah, just have a quick look.